Hey, what's up you guys? It's Caboose bringing you another Hogwarts Legacy video, and today what I got for you guys here is going to be my official review for Hogwarts Legacy. The kind folks at WB Games provided me with a review copy of the game, so let's talk about it. But hey, before we do so, I'm going to need to rally up my Potterheads once again. You guys showed up and showed some incredible support for my hands-on impressions for the game, so let's see if we can capture that magic again. If you cannot wait to jump into this game, it's coming out this week, tomorrow, for those of you who got the deluxe edition. I need you to scroll down right now, hit that thumbs up button, share your excitement with me, and let's get this video here to 1,500 likes. And with that being said, let's get into my review for Hogwarts Legacy. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the story. In Hogwarts Legacy, your created character makes his way to Hogwarts beginning at a later stage as you play as a 5th-year student. Your character possesses a unique ability to see magic unlike anybody else, and that's about as much as I want to get into without going into any spoilery territory. The story is definitely interesting, and it's absolutely at its best when you're just a regular student at Hogwarts, attending classes, and learning new spells to cast. I also think the opening is fantastic. Having the Sorting Hat choose your house, get in to see your respective house's common room, it's really cool. By the way, the game allows you to connect your Wizarding World account, or some of the OGs might remember it as your Pottermore account, and it's going to help you get the house that suits you best if you did the quiz, that is. If you don't have your Pottermore or Wizarding World account attached to the game though, you just have to answer a series of questions and the Sorting Hat will choose a house for you. Of course, you have the option to change it if you didn't want to be a Hufflepuff. I'll say though that sometimes the story falters and becomes a bit fetch questy, which I guess is in the nature of any true RPG. Still, I can get a little bored of the mission structure being go to this place and get something for me, then come back and we'll talk. When you're thrust into a set piece or heavily involved in some action, there's quite a bit of fun that could be had though. The side missions are definitely the worst offenders of the fetch quest cliche. Almost every single one of them that I remember encountering had something to do with retrieving an item for somebody. At a certain point, I just wasn't motivated when more side quests were popping up on my map. They're not all bad though. There are other side missions that can be rather fun, namely one that involves you racing around several tracks on your broom to help you hone in on your traversal ability. It's just that the game can be long, maybe almost too long. I tread lightly on complaining about this though, as you have to recognize that this is an RPG and the game is checking all the boxes that you kind of require within that genre. It's also why I'm just a bit lenient on the gear system, all the crafting, the potion making, all that stuff. I know the gear menu is uninspired, but like seriously, is this the end of the world? Are we really gonna keep complaining about this as if it ever really mattered? Game UI should look good, no doubt about it, but man, it is the last thing I am paying attention to when I am playing a game. Plus, it's really not all that bad. I saw so many people complaining specifically about the menu where you're just customizing your character, but the map looks cool. When you pause the game, it's pretty sweet. Overall, the UI is nicer than most of the games that have come out in recent memory. Moving on though, now let's talk about the open world, because my goodness, it is unbelievable. This is without a doubt the strongest part of the game that it has to offer. If you're a Potterhead, if this was something you grew up on, you'll truly be in awe. Every corner you turn has something familiar to the world that you'll point at or be excited by. I was 25 hours in and still unlocking new areas to explore, and that's just within the school grounds. Thankfully though, you aren't just confined to the inside of the castle. You can fly over to Hogsmeade if you want and fully explore that area. The Forbidden Forest is out there, and you can explore far outside the main school grounds. Hogsmeade in particular is so fun to roam around in, especially considering I was at the real life Hogsmeade in Universal Studios last year, and it was so special to me to be there in person and to be there in this game. It brought back a lot of great memories, I'll be honest. Of course, Hogsmeade's also a rather important place to be in the game, as all the shopkeepers are there, and you'll need them to sell gear, purchase upgrades for an array of things. Everything is just so alive in this game. There's always something happening, whether it be ghosts running through the hallways, statues watching you as you walk by, collectibles flying around, which, by the way, it's so addicting to chase the collectibles in this game just to hear that iconic jingle from the Harry Potter movies play every time that I pick one up. And yeah, you're always going to see students roaming through the halls of several different houses. They're walking up walls sometimes, practicing their magic and doing all sorts of fun things. I will say a small nitpick that I have is that when you spend enough time inside of Hogwarts and are ready to go outside, there's a quick pause as the game loads the outside world. It's not the biggest problem ever. I'm kind of nitpicking, like I said here, but it's definitely noticeable, and I do wish that there was a bit more of a seamless transition from inside of Hogwarts to out in the open world. But then again, you can't help but give the game a pass because this open world is huge. It is really going to surprise you how many places you're going to continuously stumble upon as far as 30 hours in the game. And speaking of those farther outreaches of the open world, they're going to have you very busy. There's tons of cool little side activities going on within the open world, collectibles to find, little puzzles to complete. It's going to have you going for a long time if you want to get that 100% completion. I particularly like capturing animals to help set them free from poachers. It kind of becomes its own mini game trying to find an animal that has a unique fur style, and it's also a nice challenge to capture the bigger animals like a hippogriff, and then you can bring them back to your room of requirement, pop them into the vivarium, and you have your own little farm of magical animals. It's honestly super nice. You'll find that there's tons of stuff in Hogwarts Legacy that aren't really necessary. It's not something that you have to do, but you'll want to because it's fun. Most importantly though, you're gonna notice that there's always some sort of danger when you're traveling further away from the school. You can fight a large variety of enemies ranging from spiders, mongrels, goblins, trolls, and poachers or wizards. And this brings me now to the combat, another very strong piece to this game's puzzle. I already spoke a bit about this in my hands-on impressions, but damn, now that I've had enough time to really sink my teeth into the combat of this game and all its intricacies, I can admit that it's genuinely some of the most fun and engaging combat that I've honestly ever experienced in a game in a very long time. I know it sounds like I'm speaking hyperbole, but trust me, I'm being so honest right now. I played the Batman Arkham games, I've played the Spider-Man games, I've played a ton of games that have really good combat systems, and Hogwarts Legacy deserves its seat at the table as well. You might think going in that all it is just ranged combat, considering that you're using a wand and blasting people with it, but there's so much more to it than you realize. When you unlock a lot of spells, you can put together loadouts that you want to be the core spells that you use in combat. That being said though, if you're really good, you can switch between several loadouts on the fly and string together an array of spells on your enemies while building your combo meter and inevitably gaining enough ancient magic to use your special move. And I've said it before, but the counter system feels very Batman Arkham-esque, which puts a huge smile on my face. It's just addicting the more you learn about it, and I'd often wish I had more than just 4 loadouts to create because you get quite overwhelmed with the amount of spells that you can cast and the different things that you can combine together. And yes, you can learn dark magic, you can learn those unforgivable curses, but you can't use them on other students, you crazy people. Come on. I'm a Slytherin though, so, you know, they're kind of fun to use. They're really fun to use, actually. I'll also reiterate from my hands-on impressions that graphically, Hogwarts Legacy is a super solid looking game. Again, it's nothing that reinvents the wheel. It's not the greatest looking game of all time, but the fidelity mode looks extra pretty when you're flying around, and I'm so glad that there's a performance mode and a high frame rate mode for the PS5 version that I got to try out. There were also a couple of bugs that I ran into while playing, and I still noticed some of those texture pop-ins here and there. It's not a broken game by any means, and your eyes aren't going to be assaulted by those texture pop-ins, but if you're paying close enough attention, you're gonna get caught off guard by it. I'm hoping we're gonna get a couple of updates in the future that's gonna smooth all these things out. All in all, Hogwarts Legacy is pretty excellent. Those who love Harry Potter, this is truly your magnum opus. I don't think it's a perfect game by any means, but it's unequivocally a perfect Harry Potter game. And it still blows my mind that the dudes who developed this, their last game was Cars 3 Driven to Win. What? There is some serious talent working at Avalanche Software, and I am going to be keeping my eyes peeled for whatever they do next. Dare I say that I wouldn't even mind if these are the guys that end up making a Superman game at some point. I don't know, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Anyways, I'm gonna give Hogwarts Legacy a very strong 8.5 out of 10. And there you have it. That's my thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy. But what say you guys? A lot of people are going to be getting their hands on the game tomorrow, and even more people are going to be getting their hands on the game by the end of this week. So I want to know what you guys have to say in the comments below. Are you looking forward to this game, and what are you most excited to dive in and try out when you get your hands on it? I want to hear everything you guys have to say in the comments, and of course, if you enjoyed this review, please consider hitting that thumbs up button. It would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.